Wow, we have some good new products for you today. We're going to be looking at a brand new concealer from MAC, always a good thing, and a brand new lip and cheek oil from the brand Bobbi Brown. So glad to have you here. You're going to see all of this today with me, Rebecca. I am a fashion and beauty magazine editor with over 20 years in the trenches, working with some of the biggest names in the fashion and beauty industry. And I have started Not Fit for Print Beauty as a sort of live beauty magazine that you can kind of flip through every day or so here on YouTube. All right, let's get started. It's always exciting when MAC has a new complexion product. They are the kings and queens of it. This is the MAC Studio Radiance 24-Hour Luminous Lift Concealer. We are going to be doing as long of a wear test. We're kind of 3 hours in right now, but I'll be doing a check-in and as long of a wear test as I can possibly do today, though this does promise 24 hours of luminous lift. There are 44 shades, typical of MAC. I picked the shade NW18. If you are my skin twin, don't make the same mistake I did. If I look very tan, it is because I am a little off on my shade choice, but it's okay. We're testing the formula. It doesn't look terrible or anything, but it's not perfect. Promises medium buildable coverage. We are going to put it on my concealer spectrum and talk about it. Promises to hydrate with a natural radiant finish and no caking and no chalkiness, it just promises to not do any of the things that we dislike in a concealer. $31 each, if I didn't say, and like I said, 44 shades. I will probably harp on this a little later in the video too, because it's on my mind. It used to be that getting a good concealer, for me at least, was rare. Okay. And it used to be that my concealer spectrum that I developed years ago when I worked solely in magazines, it used to be that you had to use it. Less and less am I relying on it. Let me tell you what my concealer spectrum is. Go ahead and use the timestamps if you know this already. My concealer spectrum states, in my little head, that we tend to enjoy the certain feel and coverage of certain concealers, and therefore if we try one that's totally different from that, we probably won't like it. So I tend to put them on a stretchy spectrum. The thinnest, with the thinnest most coverage being the Armani Power Fabric, and the thickest being all the way down by Pat McGrath or the original Tarte Shape Tape, the original. Lately, however, we've been having a lot of concealers that are serum based, right? We stole that serum from the foundation. We had all those serum foundations. Now we're having these serum concealers that do two things, which I find really interesting. They have a consistency that differs from the coverage. So they have a much thinner, more pliable, easier to blend consistency, almost like the thin end of my scale over by the Armani Power Fabric, but they have a thicker coverage. So they're promising to have like that coverage of those thicker concealers, but with the feel of the thinner ones. And we've had a whole bunch like that, from Tower 28 and Say to really Natasha Denona, Charlotte Tilbury. House Lab's a little bit thicker, but a little bit like that, and Fenty, and a few others that I'm somehow omitting and unfairly at that. This MAC Studio Radiance is like that. This is one of the thinnest textures. I would say this is the texture-wise about as thin as the Armani Power Fabric that I always speak of, if you've ever tried it. But coverage, it is one of the best coverage. This is much thinner than, say, House Lab's concealer, and I think better coverage. This is one of the thinnest, but also the fullest coverage. And that is something that makes me very happy. I liked the full coverage of something like Pat McGrath, but I hated the cakiness and how careful you had to be when you apply it. Careful application, that doesn't go with me. You guys know me. You've seen me put on blush, right? Okay, so I like that. I like that it's blendable. I like that it's buildable. I like that it's thin, but I also like that it covers up my dark pits of despair. And as I said, we're about 3 hours in now, but we're going to let it go a lot longer. Didn't do great on the shade choice. MAC always confuses me with that. And don't forget, of course, MAC says you can go a lot lighter and highlight the high points of the cheeks and such with it. You can go darker and even contour with it. Lots to do with those 44 shades. And you can go lighter and then darker on the rest of your face and match your skin tone, or do what I did, be completely off, but test it anyway. So far, it seems to be a very good product. The other products that we're going to be looking at today, or product that we're going to be looking at today, is the Bobbi Brown Lip and Cheek Oil. These are $32 each. I picked up the shade Exposed and Bitten Cherry. We'll swatch them in a moment here. They're the next in a long line of something I was obsessed with about a month or two ago. You guys remember? Clinique, Clinique Black Honey. They released a Black Honey Lip and Cheek Oil. And I was like, wow, I've seen everything now. I'm supposed to take my lip oil and stick it on my cheeks. And at the time, I was obsessed with it. But it really did appear as if I was taking a lip oil and putting it on my cheeks. Because that's what I was doing. And that seemed a little weird to me. For someone who's, taken eyeshadow and tapped it on my lips and taken blush and put it on my eyes and all of that stuff, it seemed weird to me to take a lip oil and put it on my cheeks. But I did it and I really liked it. And then MAC had a lip balm that they suggested you do that with. And it was really cool. And this is another one in that. I mean, it's a lip oil. And most of you who purchase this will wear it as a lip oil. But you can put it on the cheeks too. It's on my cheeks now, 3 hours in. But we're going to talk about it. It already seems to have it's a little different. But, Black Honey came out and everyone was like, that's really pretty, but you can't see it on the cheeks. Maybe it's my skin tone. I'm a light, medium, neutral. Could be. Certainly if you're fair, it's going to show a lot easier. Let me just show you the swatches here. So here is our Exposed shade. Right here. Exposed. They really are kind of like that Black Honey. They really went for the reds. And then this is going to be, sorry I don't have my hand facing you, this is going to be our Bitten Cherry. So here's Exposed, and I'll just, see when you spread it out, like I just did at the bottom of my hand, it does kind of disappear. It likes to be, see at the bottom, and that's what we're going to see when we put it on the cheeks. Whereas at the top, it's kind of more in its gloopy form, which is how you put it on your lips. And it's going to show a lot more. The one thing that I'm finding that all these lip oils applied to cheeks do is they definitely make a shine. And I have a lot of people that say that they use the cheek oils and then kind of put a little powder over it and such. And you can certainly do that. It does seem that most people are buying these and putting it on their lips. And they're sure pretty shades, albeit a bit similar. I mean, those aren't all that similar, but they're both in that cherry family, right? All right, so we're going to be trying that on too. Oops ingredients, white box is Bobbi Brown, blue box is MAC. Check out down below where I will have information on where to peruse or purchase these items, and where I can, I'll also stick them up here in YouTube shopping on the screen. Check also below for information on how to join our incredibly cool Facebook page, completely free to join. Thank you, Helen, for running that. Or you can come over here and pay under $5 and be a member. On YouTube here, we have weekly lives, and all money goes back into the channel, not into a vacation for Rebecca. No way would I do that. So yeah, I buy makeup with it. So you can do that, and also check out ways to see me over on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads. All right, we're going to go right now into this demo here and start the time clock ticking on the real showdown of a wear test. Stay right there. Okay, NW18. Let's do half the face and take a look. I have morning skincare that is all sunken in. We are going to wear just this today. I will not powder it, spray it, anything like that. So we can really just see how this looks, and we'll do a little wear test. I can tell you already, I never know my colors in MAC. I think I discussed this in the opening, but no scent, thankfully. I think I went a little too dark. That's okay. I'm a little tan. It's still the summer. I haven't been great with my sunscreen, you guys, which is unlike me. All right, let's see. I am aiming. This is a little bit peachy, which I'm happy about because it will have a little bit of color correcting qualities. I am, as you guys know, aiming to cover, the biggest thing for me is what I call my dark pits of despair. That's this dark area right here, which is just terrible. I actually slept a little better last night, so they're not as bad as they can be. But as you see, that's a little yellow and orange for my skin tone. But it will work a little bit as a color corrector. I'm going to just do this side, and I'm kind of letting it sit while I chat with you guys. As I always say, you really don't have to let concealer sit for a second unless it's like a blemish, but I figure, it's got to work for everything, right? Okay, so there is some, and I'm going to put on a little more. I'm going to really polka dot myself because we're not going to put on any foundation today. I hope I can get away with that because this isn't really my shade. It's a little too dark and a little too warm, but let's just see where things go once we blend it. And let's go ahead and test the product out. Nice. Okay, so I'm finding that it spreads with the brush, and some of you will be using a sponge. Some of you might even, heaven forfend, use your fingers. I say that because nobody on social media likes fingers on faces. I don't know why. It's like nature's makeup brush, people. Okay, so I'm spreading this in, and yes, I do have a lot of it on. And yeah, I mean, I got to blend pretty good because this isn't really my shade. But, you know, we're just looking at if it's going to give me coverage of the dark pits of despair. I have a little bit of hyper pigmentation here. I don't have any fully active blemishes now, which I kind of relish when I have a concealer video to do, but it's not like I want blemishes. So, you know, it's a mixed bag on that one. Okay, so keeping in mind that the color's not perfect, and keeping in mind that with this sort of a concealer match being a bit off, I would put it on before I put on foundation rather than after, especially depending on the kind of the shade of the foundation. So we're going to just wear this and let's take a look. This side is now completely concealed to my liking with no primer, and we're not going to put any foundation. And this side is left to its own devices. Hide the children or they'll be scared. And here we go, the Dark Pits of Despair on their own with nothing. And here with the new MAC Studio Radiance 24-Hour Luminous Lift Concealer. That name. Yeah, I think it's doing a good job. I mean, wow, look at just, let's just zero in on the eyes alone. Without and with a definite improvement. Nice, because this is a very fluid feeling, and we did talk about that in terms of the feel of the concealer and then the coverage of the concealer being different. All right, I'm going to speed this up so you don't have to sit through it and finish the face, and that way we can move on to taking a look at the Bobbi Brown Lip and Cheek Oil. So here we go. Okay, so yeah, we don't really have a perfect color match here. Normally I would just put foundation, maybe a little heavier over it. And I don't mind, though this is not the right shade for me, I don't mind that it's a little apricot-y, peachy, because it does kind of work as a color corrector for the blueness of the Dark Pits of Despair. Okay, let's see. Well, yeah, I mean, you know, it's a little dark. Nice radiance, though. I mean, definitely, as they say, kind of a natural radiant finish. I would love to powder under the eyes and such, but I won't. I'll just let this ride. What I'm going to do now is finish my makeup. We'll wait a few hours before we come back and film the Bobbi Brown portion, and that will serve as a check-in, and then I'll let the concealer go the rest of the day, and we'll see how it holds up. For me, this is going to be a few hours, but for you, it's going to be just like that. Okay, it's been 2 hours, and I have put on some mascara, some eyeliner, and done my eyebrows. That's it. You will be shocked to know I did not put on any bronzer. I think I'm kind of gone dark enough on this concealer shade, so we're just going to leave it at Tanned Rebecca. Okay, we want to check out how we're doing it 2 hours in. Not much of a wear test yet. We'll let it go the rest of the day, but let's just take a look at 2 hours in. I don't know about you, but when I'm going to have trouble with my concealer, I'm having it already at 2 hours. Wow! Let me tell you one thing that amazes me, okay? Whenever I do a concealer review and we check in and we look at it, it's always settling into fine lines under the eyes. And I always say to you guys, well, you know, keep in mind, I didn't powder it. I always say that, right? You've seen my concealer reviews. This one is not doing that, and it's not powdered. Because when I introduce a powder, we all use different types of powder, loose powder, pressed powder. Like, how do I count for that? And how is the powder interacting with the concealer, you know? So I just let the concealer ride on its own, usually forgiving the fact that it will sink into lines. This isn't doing that, nor is it doing it around the nose and such, or the lines of my mouth, you know, like marionette lines and such. So I am very impressed by this, and it is still looking kind of radiant and bright, even in the wrong shade. So far, so good, but we'll keep an eye on it. Now, I'm going to have to be a tad bit mismatched. Normally, what I've been doing is putting on one shade of a blush, then washing my face and putting on another. I can't wash my face because I don't want to disturb the wear test on the concealer that's kind of all around, you know? So I've put myself into a corner there. So we'll do one cheek and one cheek, and I'll just take off the lips, okay? Let's do it that way. All right, let's start here with Exposed. Here's the shade Exposed. These shades are so similar. Okay, so we're going to do Exposed first on the lips. I think most people are going to wear this as a lip shade. Okay, very pretty on the lips. Again, thinking black cherry, but like a little bit more pigmented. The question is, what will this look like on the cheeks? Okay, well, let's be organized about this. Let me just take this off my lips, then we can see the other on the lips and do both cheeks at the same time with no interruption. Stay right there. Okay, I had Exposed on the lips and took it off. Here's Bitten Cherry. We're going to put that one on the lips and then we'll do the cheeks. Ooh, that's pretty. These are indeed so similar though, aren't they? They're so similar. They're really pretty. And I like a really nice red that I can put on easily. I like myself in red lipstick, but it's so fussy that it always drives me crazy. So to have a kind of a red, I've been, favoring red glosses, frankly, because they're easier. All right, let's do one and one. I'll even it out later, but I can't wash my face off. So this is that weird trend of the lip oil on the cheeks. And Bobbi Brown recommends, the brand recommends that you kind of tap it on with your fingers. I don't really think it matters how you do it. I don't know whether to touch my face with it. I'm going to just touch my, I'll put it on the back of my hand. I'll do that. That will make you guys happy because people are just like, ew, it was on your lips and now it's on your, so I'm trying to not do that. Okay, so, ooh, it is going to be shiny. Notice I skipped the highlighter today too. So it's going to be a little bit shiny. And just like the Black Honey with Clinique, I'm not seeing a lot of color. The only problem I have with the Black Honey, the Clinique Black Honey version of this, is that I use it on the lips more than on the cheeks. And on the cheeks, it's providing more of a shine. You would have to pile on way too much to get any pigment. And we're seeing that here with the Exposed shade. Let me put the Bitten Cherry on the other side. I wonder if I'll even have to even this out. I thought maybe I just looked totally mismatched. I don't think there's going to be enough of a shade showing on the face. Maybe there will be. Let's see. Okay, so this is the Bitten Cherry side. A little bit more. The Bitten Cherry, which I also have on the lips right now, does have a little bit more color actually. So it looks like it's going to depend upon that. All right, let me just show you here. So here's the Bitten Cherry side. And, let me zoom in. But the Bitten Cherry side has a little bit more pigment than this Exposed side, which is just kind of like I stuck a lip oil on my face, which frankly I did, Yeah, the Exposed, I don't see any color really there. But the Bitten Cherry, I put on the same amount, maybe even less, and I do see that. So let me put on some Bitten Cherry on this side, just so we'll even things out. Again, no face washes here, because I've got to let this go. And I'm trying not to get into the really specific areas that a concealer would be in, around the nose and the chin and this area here. Okay. But yeah, I'm getting some more pigment out of it. And many of you are going to say to me what you said to me for the Clinique Black Honey one. Does it feel sticky? Like a lip balm on your face? Like a lip oil on your face? Yeah. Is it uncomfortable? Well, no, but I don't find that uncomfortable. If you're one of these people that must powder so that your face feels as dry as, like a table or whatever, then this will make you insane. Just a texture situation. And we all have our things. I'm not upset with anybody who just hates that. Yeah, but I feel like I have a little bit of oil on my cheeks. I don't like oil in skincare, but I don't really mind it in makeup. And I'm not a real powder person. I powder under the eyes, around the nose. Don't really powder the cheeks. So this isn't going to bother me, but you. And if that would make you crazy, yeah, it feels like I put lip oil on my cheeks because essentially I did. Okay, it's very pretty, but this is very similar to another product that MAC had and a product that, like I told you, Clinique had. And I guess you could take any lip oil. Theoretically, I could take my Dior lip oils and stick them on the cheek, even though Dior is like, oh, we don't suggest that. Yeah, but a lot of these companies are now, and I don't know what would make one different than the other, so to speak, except that marketing is suggesting it. It does give a nice, pretty glow, though. And as you can see, now that I've put Bitten Cherry on both cheeks, I mean, it is there. It's a very pretty, very subtle makeup look, and subtle makeup is really ruling right now. And we have it really brought together because we have the lips and the cheeks in the same hue. Okay, so what we're going to do is let's check on this. We'll let it ride. I'll probably reapply the lip oil, but I'll let you know how it lasted. I'll leave the cheeks alone. Might as well test them here with the MAC concealer. All right, I will be back in quite a few hours. Entertain yourselves. Okay, it has been a total of 8 hours. I have, before I came on here, I have, just for transparency, I have reapplied the Bitten Cherry on the lip, but I have not touched the cheeks. Okay, has been a total of 8 hours. I'm not sure that's the most fair comparison with this concealer, but I mean, you know, I had to be honest with you. It's been 8 hours, and that's it for me checking in and filming. I will let this go a little longer, though I won't have a chance to film it, and I'll update you on the bottom for that. But let's just talk about where we're at first at 8 hours, okay? I did reapply, as you know, the Bitten Cherry Lip and Cheek Oil from Bobbi Brown. Now, the lip and cheek oil is very pretty, but there are a few things to point out. The lip and cheek oil has only been tested for 6 hours because we started 2 hours in already. So let's just make sure the maths, okay? I will say that the oil, I am seeing the pores. This is no fault of the concealer. It is only since I put that on, and I did see it right away, but I didn't mention it, so I thought maybe it would like mellow out. So we are having some enlarged pores here, or the look of enlarged pores from the lip oil. I don't really care, but if you do have enlarged pores on your cheeks, that's going to really probably make you very grumpy, and I wouldn't blame you. So yeah, it's doing that. Well, Rebecca, you stuck an oil on your cheeks. What do you expect? Fair point. Fair point. But I don't remember the Clinique Black Honey doing that. Except the Clinique Black Honey just had less pigment. I don't remember that MAC lip balm that's for your cheeks also doing that either. So this one, I am seeing a little bit more where I have placed it. But it's staying nicely. Still not sure if the shade stays nicely or the shine. But the shine stays. These lip oils on the cheeks don't seem to be adding a ton of color. Could you layer them with a powder blush? Sure. Why not? All right, now let's check on our MAC Studio Radiance 24-hour, in this case 8-hour, Luminous Lift Concealer. And remember, I got the shade NW18, which is not really a good shade for me, but it's making me look very tan and definitely has some color correcting properties. Although remember, you can get this lighter to highlight with or darker even to contour with. You know, MAC, their whizzes and all that. So let's see where we're at. I will tell you, skipping the cheeks, which are shiny simply from the Bobbi Brown product, nice coverage here, doing really well around the nose, beautiful around the eyes, and I didn't even powder it. Would I powder it? Sure. It would only get even better from there under the eyes. Could you powder the T-zone? Sure. But I'm telling you, without powder, after 8 hours, it is really holding up, probably because it's supposed to go 24 hours. I'll let it go longer than this. But anyway, let's just, you know, keep looking at it here. It is definitely disguising the dark pits of despair on the inner corner of my eyes, which I'm very happy to say. It is definitely holding up on the pores, holding up around it. This is a darn good concealer. And it's very nice because it is extremely thin, extremely pliable, but really nice medium, I'd say even medium to full coverage without that medium to full feeling and cakiness, and that's where we've taken that serum property from the foundation and put it into a concealer. An excellent concealer. Please do a better shade match for yourself than I did. I'm always lost. But you know, there's so many MAC counters and MAC stores. Get yourself matched if you need to. But yeah, this is, you know, you can go a little peachy if you want some color correction. Maybe I went a little too peachy. But this seems to be very good. Now, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to stick on the bottom of the screen how long I let it go. We'll see. And if it's still held up, that way we can get a little bit of a longer wear test. I won't be able to film later, but there you go on the bottom of the screen. How interesting. Okay, now what I want to do is turn this over to the community. What is your final thoughts on lip oil as cheek oil? And again, I know you could do that with any old lip oil. But what about specifically the ones like this from Bobbi Brown, like Clinique, like MAC, that have told us we can do it? It's a bit weird. I was really in love with it at first. Now I'm just like, why would you put lip oil on your cheeks? kind of goes in the now I've heard everything category, perhaps. Anyway, let me know your thoughts on that. It's what makes us a community. Are you planning to try the MAC Studio Radiance 24-Hour Luminous Lift Concealer? I really like it. But, you know, wow. Concealer is getting like lipstick. It's hard to make a bad one lately. I wouldn't have said that a year and a half ago. I really wouldn't have. So, wow, technology, thank you. All right, I would love to know what you're thinking, what you're feeling. Definitely share this video. Give it a thumbs up, like it, all that good stuff. And the kindest thing you can do for me is to subscribe to this channel. I look forward to seeing all of you in the next video. Bye-bye.